What's the best way to bring people up to speed the fastest on what you've been working on?
Yeah, so I'm like yourself. Our backgrounds are on Wall Street, and we're not doctors. But what we are pattern recognition experts. My job was to live between perception and reality and get ahead of the herd. The herd has a perception, and when you see data underneath that perception starting to change, and a new reality is beginning, a new pattern, you want to be there first. And then once you get there, you want to convince all your peers of your new thesis and what you're seeing. So, with that in mind, I was seeing a pattern in early 2021 that was anecdotal at first. And then the data that we started collecting was horrifying. And the anecdotal data in February, March, in my immediate circles on Maui was the following. In 2020, I didn't know anyone who had COVID on Maui. I knew people that had COVID. And no one had tales or stories of any of their loved ones dying or being injured by anything. 2021 rolls in immediately in February and March. COVID hits Maui hard. And I start hearing tales of weird reactions, mostly right after getting the vaccination. And then I started, I'm a avid news follower, alternative news. I like to, get the feet on the ground kind of news. And I was noticing that soccer players were collapsing in the UK and Europe on the field. So that interested me. These are the most fit amongst us. So this all conspired to just make me start asking questions, becoming very suspicious of what was going on, at least with the vaccine. I was suspicious of COVID in 2020. I put out a tweet thread on May 3rd that was in the form of a dystopian movie that, if you read the tweet thread, and it's pinned on my Twitter at Dowd Edward, it basically almost predicted what we saw. And it was a trailer to a dystopian movie that launched in 2022. And people ask me, how were you able to figure this out? And I said, well, I put myself in the mind of a criminal, and I thought, hey, if there was a global sovereign debt crisis, how would you control that implosion? And whether COVID was released on purpose or was used as an excuse, I don't know, don't care. But it certainly gave the central banks and the politicians an excuse to print unprecedented amounts of money. And I think and you're aware that in 2019, there was a repo crisis at the Federal Reserve. Overnight lending started to shoot up. It looked like the system was going to start to implode, but then COVID came along and gave life to the system for another 2 years. Here we are, and we have what we call I believe, the beginnings of a global sovereign debt crisis. There's indicators we can talk about, but going back to what was going on with the vaccine issue, I became very, very disturbed when the mandates hit, and that's when I became activated, and I started going to protests on Maui. And I call this. I actually prayed to God to be of service. And within a month, I had met Dr. Malone. He came to Maui. I was introduced via someone at the protest. They said, "Hey, you're Ed from Twitter. You've been on Zero Hedge. We want you to come to a dinner with Dr. Malone." So I went, met him, became friends, wrote the Malone Doctrine for him with 3 other individuals, which is basically a doctrine that tries to establish integrity in institutions, because that's where we feel the battle has been lost. Our institutions have no integrity. So I told Dr. Malone that I would be monitoring the insurance data and the funeral home data, because I figured if I was right, the governments wouldn't tell us this, but they wouldn't be able to hide public databases. And sure enough, insurance results in the beginning of 2022 started going off the rails. There's a specific business called Group Life, which is given to most people in Fortune 500 companies and mid-sized companies in the US. It's a very unique group. They're the most healthy amongst us. Their age is 25 through 64. The Society of Actuaries, which is an industry group for the insurance industry, did a study in 2016 that said these people die at 1/3 the mortality of the general US population in a given year. So 1/3 the rate. So in a year, the population dies X, they die 1/3 of that. Well, this went off the rails in 2021, started showing up in the results. And basically, what we discovered as I was writing my book was that in 2021, in the group life policyholders, they experienced excess mortality of 40%. Let me say that again, 40%. A CEO, Scott Davison, in January of 22, at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, he didn't know what he was about to say, but he said it anyways. He said, we're seeing 40% excess mortality in, especially amongst the younger working age folks. And that a 10% excess death rate is a 3 standard deviation event or a once in a 200-year flood. He said 40% was off the charts. So those are his words, not mine. So we looked at the general population excess mortality in 2021. It was 32%. And why is that important? Well, the historical relationship of this group being way healthier than the general U.S. population flipped. And while I was in my journey, I gathered a team of experts around me. I started going public. My internet phenomenon was launched on Steve Bannon's War Room in February of 2022. And I assembled a team throughout the year. And I ended up starting a company with 2 PhD physicists. Both have experience on what is considered Wall Street in Europe. They're from Portugal. One of them has a dual PhD, one in finance and one in physics. So these are gentlemen that are very serious, very well educated. One of my partners, Carlos Alegria, wrote a very good book, Economic Cycles, Debt and Demographics. And he predicted that inflation was coming before it did in the book. He updated it for the COVID. So I just want people to understand that when I tell you what I'm telling you, it's just not me. It's a team of 2 PhD physicists. We have 2 data scientists now. We picked up another physicist and 2 editors. So, and everyone's working pro bono. We're going to start a hedge fund, but we haven't raised the capital yet because, to be honest, we want to put this information out so no one can claim we were funded by anybody. This is free. So I don't want anybody coming after our motivations. This is all done with the best of intentions and integrity. All the data is on our website right now at financetechnologies.com, and it's spelled with a PH instead of an F. So that's, in a nutshell, we found that something happened to the employed in the US in 21 and 22. And we also looked at US disability data, US Bureau of Labor Statistics, separate database from group life. We found the same thing. The disability shot up, 3 standard, 4 standard deviation event from starting in February of 21. It had been running around 29 to 30 million disabled in the US, went to 33.2. Of that, 1.7 million are employed. The unemployed disability rate went up 31%. The general US population went up 8%. So factually, we can claim without a doubt that it's been detrimental to your health to be employed in 21 and 22, and it continues in 23. So being the deductive Wall Street guy that I am, and I know you are, I asked what changed. Well, there's only 2 things that changed: mandates and mass vaccination program of a novel new technology. So I blame the vaccines, full stop.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I am just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
This course has been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not gonna regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.